Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be making this Hello Kitty donut squishy, and this was requested a bunch of times, but the first two people to request it were Sky and Sabila. So to start off with, what I did was drew out the rough Hello Kitty donut shape onto a white piece of paper. Now you can print this out or you can draw it, whichever you feel more comfortable with. I know a lot of people don't like drawing out things, so the printing it could be an option. So what I did was just drew out the Hello Kitty bow shape to begin with, and then put an ear in that. I then went ahead and drew out the rough kind of donut shape that I wanted to have, along with another ear and just the top of the donut. Now I made a few adjustments here, because I was doing my donut in a dark colour anyway, this didn't really matter as you wouldn't be able to see it in a moment. But if you're doing this and want to make a few little mistakes or corrections, then just make sure that you do this in pencil so you can rub these bits out. I then went ahead and drew out the donut kind of shape, and then what I did was tested some brown felt tip pens in the colour that I wanted to have. So taking the lighter browny donutty kind of colour, I just coloured in the bottom half of the donut. Now it doesn't really matter if you go in that circle bit that we're going to cut out, as we're going to cut that out anyway and you're not really going to note it. Once completely happy with this colour, I then moved on with a darker brown and I just coloured in the top part. You want to make sure not to have any of the brown on the bow, so what I did was went round the bow first of all to kind of give it a nice thicker line, and then just carried on colouring in after that. Now you may be wondering about these little lines that when you do your felt tip pens. Well, basically with these markers, which are the Crayola super tips, and when you leave it to dry for a good 10-15 minutes, the lines kind of like blend in a lot better, so they're not so visible once it has dried. If you don't have any pens or markers or anything like that, you can also use pencils, crayons, paints, anything that you have around to colour this in. Once I was happy with the dark brown coverage, I then went in with an even darker brown and just added on some little shadows to make it look like the chocolate was kind of more 3D. Next I went ahead and tested out some reds and picked the perfect red for the bow. My camera actually cut out here, but as you can see I coloured in the first half and then I just went ahead and coloured in the second half. So I just coloured this out with my red felt tip pen, and then what I did was where the little crease in Hello Kitty's bow is, I just kind of really focused on that bit going over and over and over and over, so that bit was a lot darker to make it look more 3D. So next, once I was happy with all the coverage, I went ahead with my white Posca paint pen and I just did little white dots all over the entire squishy. This is to imitate the sugar that's actually on the original squishy, and what I did was focused it more on the bottom and then added loads up through the chocolate as well. I also then went back over the chocolate shadows just to make it a bit more 3D, and then I went over the bow a little bit more with the same red again to give a little bit more dimension also. Once finished with all the colouring in, I then cut out the shape completely from the first piece of paper, and then what I did was I taped the whole thing up over on top of another white piece of paper. Once fully taped down, I then just cut roughly around this and folded it in half. I then cut out a little triangle shape and then used my scissors to cut out the hole. So the way in which I actually sellotape the hole up on my donut squishies is to take some sellotape and just put it over a part of the hole to begin with. As you can see here, I just put it over this edge here. I then took my scissors and cut this towards the inner circle, and then I just folded these bits around. As you can see here, I'm trying to show you, it's kind of like little bits of tape that then fold around, so it folds neater in that circle's edge. You'll want to keep doing this until the whole circle is completely taped through on the inside. For me, it took about 4 pieces of tape in total to get a good coverage. Once the circle is then complete, you'll then want to go ahead and cut out most of the Hello Kitty donut shape. And to do this, I'm leaving the bit at the bottom like kind of sealed up, if that makes any sense, without cutting the excess off. And this is so that the 2 pieces of paper stay stuck together. Now I always do this by cutting out the most complicated side first, which obviously has the ears on it this time, and then I go ahead and tape this up. You'll want to just do this in the same way that you did the circle, just by putting a piece of tape on and cutting the edges and folding around each piece of paper. Now the reason I do the most complicated side first is so that when we come to tape it up at the end whilst it's like almost full, it's a lot easier to just tape it up then than it would be kind of going around the ears and stuff when it's already stuffed. So it's a lot easier to do the more complicated bits when the squishy is actually flat. So once you go around and sellotape it up all the way around and make sure all those edges are fully in place. You'll then want to cut off that little bit of excess that you left before. Once that bit is cut off, you'll then have a hole to stuff your squishy up with. So in that hole, I just stuffed little bits of like toy stuffing at like one bit at a time, and I just used my scissors to kind of push it right into the edges, and then I just used my fingers after that once I could kind of get deep enough into the squishy. I then went ahead and just filled this up as much as I could, and I just did it until I was about halfway down the donut on each side before I started taping up again. So once I got to a certain point, I added more tape on the sides so that I was able to fill up more around the donut. And then I just went in with even more stuffing and just started stuffing up the side. Once I got to the last piece where I needed to put some stuffing, I just took stuffing in a ball and kind of like rolled it in my hands to make it more of a sausage shape. I just popped this into the bottom of the donut squishy, and then I just taped this bit up. As I said before, like this bit here does become quite tricky as you've got to kind of pinch it and then tape it. So doing this where the ears and stuff like that are will be more complicated, so if you do it this way round, it's a lot easier. Once it's fully taped up, your squishy is then complete. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know a lot of people have requested it. I think it's got about 10, 15, maybe even 20 requests from separate people. I couldn't obviously fit everyone into this video, so just a huge shout out to everyone who did request this, as I've now done it for you. So tomorrow is the last day of request week, and I do have another paper squishy coming, so if you want to stick around for that one, you can. Starting on Saturday will be my Easter week, so I'm going to be posting Easter DIYs for the next week, which will end on Good Friday, and I might just stick a few more Easter ones on the weekend after. I'm not really 100% sure. Yeah, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I absolutely love how it turned out, and I just love this chocolate squishy, so it's just perfect for me. Yeah, so if you like it, please give it a like. If you want to stick around for more videos, please subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!